everyone, Jem here and welcome to my creative space.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the next video in the Ephemerember series, and I'm actually playing a little bit of catch up today because it is the 13th of December, but I'm going to be working on prompt number 12 today, and this is one of the reasons that I was okay to commit myself to doing Ephemerember this year, because we do only have 4 prompts a week, and so we do get that catch up time on the sort of Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So thank you very much, Barbara and Louise. That was a really good idea. So today, working on prompt number 12, which is bookmark and black and white. Now, I have a bit of the love of the darker side of life, if you like, and I was having a look through my stuff thinking about black and white, and I found this awesome printable with these beautiful ravens, and I can't remember where this came from. I'm really sorry, so if you recognise it, please do leave me a comment and let me know. It's one I've had in my stash for a while. So there's some gorgeous little cards here, or little pictures. They are roughly 5 centimetres by 8. And I've got an idea to do something with a couple of these to make a bookmark. But to go along with it, I want to do a page in my journal. And so I've also printed off another of my favourite poems is The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. But for those of you who know that, you will know that there's about 18 verses to it, so I'm not going to include all of them as much as I'd love to, because I could make a whole, in fact that's a lovely idea for a journal, isn't it? You could make a whole journal with those 18 verses. But I've just printed the last one today, and I'll talk a little bit more about why and some of the meaning behind this in a bit. But I want to use this to create a black and white page in my journal to go along with the bookmark. So I'm going to choose a page, and then I'm going to collect up some materials and we'll make a start, and I'll get the page done, and then whilst that's drying I think I'll move on to the bookmark. So let's have a quick flick through. Yeah, I don't really like how this page has printed, and what I want to do today will actually cover the background of the page, so I think I'm going to use that one. Right, let's gather some stuff together, everyone, and make a start. I've put a plastic sheet underneath that page to protect the rest of my journal, and I've just given it a light coat of gesso, and I've also mixed up some, it's not really black, it's texture paste, but I've coloured it so that it's a sort of quite a dark grey, and I'm going to be using that in a moment. I mix my own texture paste because I like to be able to change up the consistency depending on what I'm doing. So this one I've mixed quite thick. So I'll just put that to the side for the moment. And what I'm going to do is to roughly tear out the last verse of this poem that I was talking about, and I'm actually going to put this onto the page this way because it's not really going to fit that way, so this page is going to be one that you look at from the side orientation. And if you don't know the poem I'm referring to, it's called The Raven, and it's the guy Edgar Allan Poe. It was written in the mid-1800s, and it's really quite a dark poem. It's written, the narrator of the poem is mourning the death of his beloved, and a raven taps on the window, and this guy actually, the narrator actually sort of starts talking to the raven, and really sort of starts to lose his mind a little bit. You know, his grief takes over, and he becomes, well, I guess these days we would say he sort of sinks into a depression. So I've printed the last verse of this poem, which is quite I find quite meaningful. And I'm going to have to wait for that to dry. And in fact, I might just speed up that process a little. So that gesso has now dried. And whilst I've been waiting for that to dry, I've also cut out a couple of images from that sheet of ravens. And I'd like to, if possible, sort of incorporate some of these as well. One going that way. I don't know whether I'm going to have quite enough room, but we will find out. Okay, let's make these a little bit smaller. Okay, or do we just go for one? Maybe I'm trying to put too much in him. Maybe we just go, yeah, maybe we do that. We go for one. Okay, so my idea is that I'm going to put these two on here, and then I'm going to use the texture paste to build up some quite nice texture in here. But I don't really want to use a stencil per se. So I'm going to have a quick hunt round to see if I can find. So this is what I was thinking of. This is a plastic mesh that comes wrapped around our LPG gas bottles, and I'm hoping to use this. So this is, hey guys, do you know what? This is completely kind of experimental. I don't know whether this is going to work, but we're going to go with it and see. So I'm going to glue these couple of bits down. So I hope you've all been enjoying Ephemerember. There's some amazing creators out there and some wonderful videos, and I love seeing how everybody interprets the same prompt in so many different ways. It's that creative mind of, you know, everybody thinks differently, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But that's absolutely fascinating for me, and I love seeing how everybody interprets prompts differently. And I've been deliberately trying not to watch other people's videos before I've done my own for any one particular prompt, because I don't want to be influenced by the ideas other people have had, if you see what I mean. I want to sort of have a go and then compare what I've done to what other people have done. You know, completely not compare, but to you know, like I say, just to see how everybody's interpreted things differently. So even though I'm a day or so behind, I've deliberately not watched anyone else's video for this particular prompt, the black and white and bookmarks. So I've got no idea what other people have done, and I'm really looking forward to having a look once I've finished this video. Now, as you can see, I am slathering texture paste on here, and I want to go all the way around this and cover that page up completely. Obviously I don't want to cover the writing for the poem itself. Reminds me of plastering a bit. My uncle taught me to plaster a wall when I was about 12 years old, and I never thought that it would really come in useful, but having renovated a good number of houses over my lifetime, I have found it useful on a number of occasions, funnily enough. and this kind of really reminds me of plastering a wall. Now I want to get just a little bit up here. You can see that, yep. And down this side. So I'm just going to make sure that bit of plastic is protecting the rest of my journal. And although it's the evening, so as I'm running a bit of catch up today, it's been quite a warm day today, and it's probably still well into the 20s here this evening. So I'm trying to work quite quickly because I'm a little bit concerned this texture paste is going to dry up before I can get some texture into it. Right, so here we go. As I say, I've never done this before. It's going to be a bit messy, but I'm going to give it a go, and we're going to see what happens. Now, what I want is another piece of plastic, and what I want to do is to press that plastic mesh into the texture paste. You can see I'm just make sure it's on the edges as well. Right, so there's that. Oh no, it's pulling up. Be a little bit careful, it's starting to lift my poem there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's quite cool. Okay, it has lifted the edge of my paper there, but that's okay because that can be stuck down again later on. Okay, I'll lift that up and see if you can see it. Can you see that texture in there? Okay, I'm going to leave that to dry. Oh, it has just covered the wording there. Let's just see. I can push that back just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to leave that to dry. So I'm going to put that somewhere to dry, and then I'll stick that bit back down and see what else I'm going to do. Whilst that's drying, I'm going to clean my hands up, and then we'll have a go at the bookmarks. So when I was thinking about the bookmark, my initial idea, and as we know these things often change, is to put a couple of these, now I've cut that one, but to put a couple of these back to back and then attach something. So for example, this is some black macrame string. Now I think this might be a bit too simplistic, but to attach something in the middle and then attach this to the spine of my book so that it can be lifted in and out, you know, like one of those, you get books which have a ribbon attached. So that's my sort of initial idea. So I'm going to cut some of these up. As you can see, I've got some black macrame string. I also have some black felt, and I also have this rather interesting material which already has some white lace stitched onto it. So I'm going to have a play around with those three things and see what I can come up with. So to start with, I'm just going to finish cutting out a couple of these and choose two that I like. And I rather like these with the roses on, I have to say. And I'm just looking up to see whether all of these pictures are different or whether some are the same. I think they're actually all slightly different. So I rather like this one with the rose and this one. So I'm going to cut those two out. Finish cutting them out and see what I can do. Now this is printed on a light card. Off the top of my head I can't tell you the GSM, but it's quite, it's a reasonably sturdy substrate to print on, and it's ideal for things like this, that, you know, if it's being lifted in and out of a journal, it's going to, you know, need to be reasonably robust, isn't it? So So this is my idea. That goes back to back like that. And of course they're different sizes. I don't know how that's happened. Okay. So maybe not all my little pictures were the same size. There we are. There we go. So that would make sort of a double-sided page marker, if you like. And I do rather like this. And what I'm wondering is whether I could do something with a strip of this in there. You know, I think I'm going to go for that. I'm going to cut. Now, how long is it going to be? Okay, I'm just going to use this middle one for now. Let's grab my fabric scissors, and I'm actually going to cut up here. Oh, cutting my paper as well. That's no good, is that? And up here. Okay, I don't know whether you could see all of that, but so my thinking with this is that I'm going to fold these sides under like this to enclose it, and actually stitch those down. It would actually make quite a cute bookmark just like that, wasn't it? What I was thinking originally was to stitch so that that is on the end, and then this will be joined on, and you would have, yep, I'm going to go with that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stitch this down, and I'm going to glue these on the end and then stitch around these as well. All right, so I'm going to get the sewing machine out. We'll take that one step at a time. Okay, so I've stitched down both sides of that so that that's now forming a strip. I'm just looking at this. You could use these for belly bands or anything, couldn't you? But anyway, this is going to be a bookmark. What I'm going to do now is to stick two of these on the end like this. You see that way. But before I do, I'm going to ink around the edges, and then I will put a bit of glue in the middle, and I'm going to stitch around them to continue the sort of the stitching fabric. Look. So I just wanted to show you, I've inked around the edges of these two cards, but I've also cut the end of that strip that I've just stitched. I've just cut it into a V so that that sits. It sits in rather than sticking out over the edges. So I'm going to pop a bit of glue in there just to hold it, and then I'm going to stitch around those cards. Right. So here's the bookmark, and here's the journal. Now the journal is still not quite dry, so and with the texture paste I do prefer to leave it to dry on its own. So I think for now I'm just going to measure. So I'm going to use this as an indicator, and I'd quite like the bookmark to come just a little bit below the bottom of the page. So really needs to be about there. Okay, so I'm going to put a clip there to show me that that's the top of the journal. So I've got an idea of length, and what I need to do now is to figure out how I'm going to fix this to the journal, which is a little bit difficult when that page is still wet. But I think, looking at the top of the journal here, I'm going to put a hole and an eyelet in the top of the spine there. And this is probably something I should have thought about before I put the journal together, but obviously I didn't. So I'm going to try and squeeze an eyelet in there, and then attach a series of rings to put the bookmark onto. So let me go and have a look, see what rings I've got, and right, we'll go. So I've dug out these couple of bits which I think will work, and I think what I'm going to do is to use this clip to go through the eyelet, and then onto this swivel ring at the bottom I'm going to attach this bigger ring, and I'll take that piece of chain off. I'm going to attach my bookmark like that. So this will be on there and that will be clipped to the eyelet in my journal. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to grab the sewing machine because I think it will just, I want this to be nice and strong. So I'm going to stitch that onto there. Alright, so here we go. I used the zipper foot on my machine so that I could get nice and close around the ring here, so I folded the material through and stitched it twice around there. So that's that, and then I've used that split ring to attach the little clip. So there's my bookmark. I'm at a little bit of an impasse now. I can't really do anything else until my texture paste is fully dry, so we'll have to come back a bit later on when that has happened. Apologies for the change of light, folks, but as I say, I am recording in the evening this evening, and because I've had to wait for this to dry, it's we're starting to lose our light. So I'm going to attach this in a moment, but I want to add a little bit more kind of depth, if you like, to this, and I'm just going to see if I can. There we go, that's better. A little bit now, I've got these which are, they're actually the same sort of product as a Woody Stabilo. They're crayons which are water soluble, but I'm just going to try using these to give just a little bit more. I'm going to go round some of that texture, just to add a sort of a bit more of a depth of colour. I just feel it needs something. Alright, I feel like that still needs a little bit of something. I don't want to do too much because I like the dark kind of grunge sort of feeling, because that fits with the poem, but I do feel it needs a little bit of something. And I think somewhere I've got some white ink, so I might find that and just do a couple of little white splatters on it just to give it a bit of a lift, and then we'll think about attaching the bookmark. Newton white ink, and so I've got to be honest, I don't know how this is going to go, but we'll find out. Now my big brush is not going to go in there, is it? So that one, I'm going to give that a little bit of a mix because it has been sitting, and I'm going to put a bit on this. I've got a little bit of acetate here, so I'm just going to put a little bit on there, and then I'm going to dip my brush in now. Ha! I'm aware this could get messy. Okay, hold on. Let's find some bits to cover up. Okay, so here's a plastic, quite a thick plastic bag, and I've got a piece of scrap paper here. Let's just get covered up. In actual fact, what else have I got? Oh, that's another bit. Right, I'll just cover my journal like that because I don't want the white Now I'm just going to, I don't know whether this is necessary, but I'm just going to dampen my brush before I dip it in the ink. Can you see that ink? And it's quite, it actually feels quite thick. That's better. So I've added a little bit of I don't want to get too much on my raven. I want almost, it's almost looking a little bit like a starry sky. Let's get a little bit more up here if I can. It's always knowing when to stop with splatters, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to stop. Let's put that in there to give it a wash. Right, and that. Put my lid on my ink before that goes everywhere. What I'm going to do is just carefully wipe my raven, because I did get a couple. I should have covered him up as well, shouldn't I? That's okay, look, it has come off. There we are. Alright, so I'm quite happy with that, actually, as a black and white page. Let's take these pieces out of the way, and okay, I'm going to clear up the messy stuff, and then I'm going to attach the clear up. And I found my eyelets and my eyelet maker. Now I'll pull out a black one, I think. Is that dry? Yeah, that ink's dry. So my thought is to attach this through the spine here. I'm just thinking, actually, I might just put a little brass one there, because I think that goes better with the cover of the spine. So now I've got no idea. Let me just check that is the top. I have got no idea whether my eyelet maker is going to go through this. So we're just going to have to have a try. There's the middle. There we go. That might be easier to do it. Okay, it is cutting, so I think it's just a case of persevering. Okay, that's gone all the way through. That's cool. I didn't know that it was whether it was going to do that or not. Now I'm going to pop that eyelet in. I'm really sorry, my eyelet maker is a noisy tool. I would love a crocodile, but right now I don't have one. Okay, whoa, there we go, eyelet in. So now, hopefully, the bookmark attaches there, and we can bring it up and down to whatever page we want, and then it will just close up like that. Woohoo! Now, what I did realise when I finished up today was that can you see that? Yeah. So some of that texture paste went over to the next page and has made a little bit of a mess there. But, you know, that's okay. That's a challenge for when I come to do that page, is to either incorporate it into the design or to cover it up in some way. So there we go. All right, so today's prompt, number 12. Number 12, Bookmark and black and white. So there we have our bookmark, which is black and white, and we have our black and white page. So there we go. I hope this has been fun for you to watch. I hope it's given you some ideas. If it has, please do give me a thumbs up. It really helps if you like the video. It helps other people to be able to see it too. And other than that, I hope you have a great day, and thank you for watching. Ka kite anō.